This week on Africa Weekly, we visit the MBA's Academy in Senegal, the first MBA training ground on the African continent. Then we head to Ghana, where a malaria vaccine has significantly reduced the occurrence of the disease in children. But first, here's a selection of the stories that made the headlines this week. Voters in Malawi cast ballots in a closely fought general election, with President Peter Mutharika battling to hold off two serious rivals in a race that's focused on corruption allegations and economic development. The president is campaigning for a second 5-year term, but his government has been dogged by several high-profile cases of corruption and nepotism.
I am not happy with the way of living now. The standard of living has gone down, so we need to change the government and put other people so that they can try and give us what we want.
On Thursday, the president had taken a 5 percentage point lead over his main rival, according to results from 3/4 of polling stations.
Cyril Ramaphosa. Thank you.
South African lawmakers re-elect Cyril Ramaphosa as the nation's president, 2 weeks after the ruling ANC party returned to power in legislative elections.
Tonight I sleep very peacefully, elated that the message that emanated from this parliament is one that the people of our country want to hear.
The ANC elected Ramaphosa as their leader. The party, which wins the most seats in the legislative elections, chooses the head of state under South Africa's 1996 constitution. Kenya's High Court refused to scrap colonial-era laws which criminalise homosexuality on the grounds that it would lead to same-sex marriage, which it says is unconstitutional. This isn't the first time the High Court has refused to make any changes to the law. In February, judges pushed back the decision, citing a heavy workload, prompting dismay from a persecuted community who have fought for years to be accepted.
It's been interesting and exciting to witness how a lot of people are willing to put aside that which they have learned and known all their lives and really open their hearts and reflect on the human rights of different people who are Kenyans.
At least 17 people, including South Africans and Egyptians, were injured after an explosion targeting a tourist bus went off near the Grand Egyptian Museum next to the pyramids in Giza. No group has claimed responsibility, but Islamist militants have attacked tourists in Egypt in the past. It's the second explosion in nearly 6 months near the pyramids, Egypt's most important landmark. Moise Katumbi, a prominent opponent of DR Congo's former President Joseph Kabila, returned to the country after 3 years in self-imposed exile. Thousands of people welcomed Katumbi, who once served as elected governor of Katanga before falling out with Kabila.
You know, forced exile is very difficult, especially if you have not done anything wrong. I know that returning is a risk. There are people who called, who told me not to come back. They said, "Don't come back, Mr. Katumbi, you'll be murdered," or whatever. But I'm not afraid of anybody.
Katumbi's also opposed Kabila's successor, Felix Tshisekedi, but says he's returning for peace and national reconciliation, although he's not yet made clear what role he plans to play. Thousands of supporters of Guinea-Bissau's historic ruling PAIGC party protested in the capital. They were calling on President José Maria Vaz to nominate party leader Domingos Simoes Pereira as Prime Minister after he was elected back in March. Residents are less than impressed with their leader's performance so far after he was first elected in 2014.
We will fight this. We will get rid of all that belongs to the state. We will wreck everything. We are tired of José Mario Vaz. We are tired. There are no schools, there's an education strike, no salaries for employees, there's nothing at all.
Botswana's government is fending off criticism over its decision to end a 5-year ban on elephant hunting, assuring critics that the move will not reduce the animal's population.
It was never meant to be permanent. It was to observe what was happening in our ecosystem. So it must be clear from the outset and understood it was a suspension. Those who chose to call it a ban, call it a ban.
A government statement said the cabinet had been influenced by the high levels of human-elephant conflict and its impact on livelihoods.
These are the best young basketballers in Africa. Selected through rigorous local scouting programs and elite skills camps, they have come from across the continent to develop that talent at the NBA's African Academy. This is the NBA's first training centre on the continent. Based in Senegal, it opened its doors to young players last year.
The aim is to develop basketball, to develop the NBA across the continent, because we have had, as I was telling you before, a long history of great players that have come from this continent who have made history in the NBA.
After 2 to 4 years training, they'll be hoping to score a place at an American university. Ambitious and hardworking, these players are put through their paces. Only the best will make it.
It'd be great to play for any team in the NBA. Anyone in the NBA franchise would be great, but Lakers would be the best, yeah.
The Academy is supporting these young players academically as well, to prepare them in case they don't manage to turn their sporting passion into a career.
And what the NBA had done, they made a conscious decision to make sure we give them leadership skills, time management skills, life skills, all the things that are necessary in order to be successful. So it's not just about basketball.
The NBA recently announced the creation of the Basketball Africa League in 2020. This championship will give the young players more opportunities at a basketball career when they leave the academy.
Following in the footsteps of Malawi, Ghana has become the second African country to roll out the world's first proven anti-malaria vaccine. In a country that had over 5 million confirmed cases of malaria last year, it's hoped that this new measure will reduce the risk of children contracting the disease.
I believe that if we perform the injection early, it will help us not to have to rush in the future and spend so much money on disease prevention. If we prevent it from the start, it will help.
The Ewim Polyclinic Health Centre in Cape Coast recorded over 1,000 cases of malaria in children under the age of 5 last year. Ellen Apraku, a maternity ward nurse, is tasked with explaining the benefits of the vaccine to local mothers. She highlights the considerable economic benefits alongside the health benefits of the new treatment.
You see, right now, the malaria treatment is very costly. I think it's very costly. And right now, there's no money. So if we were able to prevent it, at least the parents will have much money to take good care of their children.
It's a point of view that's shared by other healthcare professionals in Ghana.
So economically, when you get malaria, the family's income loses some income, because the time that you spend to look after the child, you have used the time for other things. So it will go a long way. This vaccine is able to reduce malaria in children under 5. I'm sure it will help.
The Mosquirix vaccine is to be used as a complementary tool, augmenting but not replacing measures such as insecticide-treated bed nets and anti-mosquito sprays. The aim in Ghana is to vaccinate 120,000 children per year over the next 3 years. The next country to implement the vaccine will be Kenya.
The first black African woman to climb Everest has said that people from her continent must seek amazing new challenges to prove they can compete with the best.
Think about it, Everest was first climbed in 1953. You know, it's taken how many flipping years for us to be there. What an honor in a small way to be that vehicle that says, you know, let's level the playing field, let's have a seat at the table, we can also do this.
Suray Kamalo, a South African business executive, reached the summit of the almost 9,000-metre mountain after 3 previous bids had failed. That's all from us at Africa Weekly. Until next week.